colors how we think about them. Is that true in your case?
Well, to some extent, yes. But I think that shouldn't be used as a lever. I think relationships have to be symbiotic, and you go into it with the mindset that you're going to help build each other. So if at the end of the day she opens up to you and you're using that against her, then I think it's really not in the right.
So when you say to some extent, yes, what do you mean?
I mean, you can't have it in full. I believe in being absolutely honest with your partner, but to some extent, sometimes maybe a white lie might help.
A white lie? Which one is black? No, but I'm curious about this thing that Mami was talking about. That so she slept with 8 people in the past. What difference does that make?
So, I mean, it varies from individual to individual. Some people would want to know, like you rightly said, how experienced the woman is. Others would prefer they didn't know at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, what matters is, what do you use that info for? Is it helping build your relationship, or is it just you're just using it as a lever for your own selfish interests?
So there's the good girl myth, smart, that everyone wants to go to Mokola and buy marriage material and use. And you don't really fit in that context if you're someone who has done some things before. Does it happen sometimes?
I think the whole conversation just centers around the fact that what would you want in a woman, whether you would want her to be really honest with you, because to take real honesty, sometimes you need a particular character for that,
right.
For somebody to be totally honest with you, and for you to even at the receiving end take what's actually coming at you. So I think some people refuse not to say, because some people just don't have the muzzle to take what they're about to hear. And I believe in what I have called delayed truth, not like, because I feel like I need to know the person I am about to share this particular information with. Because at the end of the day, it's not about sharing. I can be honest on the first day and tell you everything that I need to tell you, but then, like someone said, what are you going to do with that information? So I should know who I am sharing that information with. When scripture says they were naked and they were not ashamed?
Yeah, they knew everything about
that
each
is
other.
Total honesty to me. But we have to get to the point where I know that this information I'm giving out is going to somebody who has the character for it. Because at the end of the day, if I tell you that I've slept with 20 women, what character are you to stomach the message that just came? Because you're just going to look at me and go like, okay, so this guy has so many experiences, so he might not really enjoy me. Exactly. So we are humans. I mean, people are skeptical.
Yeah.
So the honesty we are talking about, people will want to know, is it brutal honesty or honesty that has been compromised? Because like Mami mentioned, there is time into everything. You cannot just start today and just dump everything on the person and let the person know that this is what, because marriage material, like we are saying, when we say we need people to be honest with us, we take ourselves out of the equation.
What do you mean we take ourselves out?
When you want someone to be really honest with you, and they are, then you are like, I was not expecting you to say things like this. I mean, then what kind of honesty were you looking for?
So what you're asking is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it? Because you see, not all truth can be handled.
Right.
People hear some kind of honesty, and now it takes them aback. They are like, wow.
Like, no, that the person has crossed some line.
Now the person has crossed some in your mind, because that's your measuring tape.
Okay, so Samuel, are you willing to forgive anything you hear?
That's a tough one. I think so.
You think so?
I think
Boss,
so,
you're
but
not sure of what you're saying.
No, I think so. But I mean, if you completely love the person and you see yourself building a future with the person,
But love in itself is based on information.
I know.
And the information a person gives you can change whether or not you love the person.
I know, but again, as Smart said, are you willing to stomach, her brutal honesty? So, for example, let's say you're not dressed smartly, and your wife tells you, or your girlfriend tells you, Charlie, today, dear, you're not looking smart. do you have the stomach to handle such a thing, or would you rather prefer something like, I like the color of your shirt, but I think your trousers wasn't properly ironed. Both are pretty much talking about the same thing, but the wording has changed, and that would impact how you perceive or interpret it.
But there's some information you cannot change. You cannot change how. I mean, if you had a baby with someone, with another woman, you can't change how it's told.
No, but again, right? I mean, if you completely love the person and you see yourself, building something together, you not let these so-called deal breakers end it.
Really?
Yeah.
Smart. I don't think it's as simple as I love the person, this becomes a deal breaker.
It's not. That's where I agree with Samuel, because it's not simple, but it must be done some way. Why? Because people speak about compromise like it's a negative thing, but when it comes to relationships, you have to compromise on something. You wouldn't have the 100% character that you're looking for. That is where I find it a little difficult, with Steve Harvey's submission on this particular matter, because men, when we find out something later, it's bad.
Especially when we find out.
Yeah, especially when we find out, when you didn't say, you've been with two people. Then one day in a conversation out of the blue, you're like, so the third boyfriend I went out with, I'm like,
what's third boyfriend?
What third boyfriend? I thought you had only two people. So then you bring up a whole conversation I tell people that, see, the best gift a man can ever give a woman is to be a genuine person. Just be the person you said you were when you met them.
But here's the case where Smart. Here's the case where Smart. You are saying that. You are saying that in the beginning, I can't tell you everything.
Yes,
so that means that who you are will change.
Precisely, it depends on the conversation we are having. If we are building conversation and building a relationship, you don't just throw out information anyhow. Because when you really want to build something, you don't just dump the iron rods on the floor. You take your time, you dig, you make sure that this is a character that I really want to have something to do with. You don't just wake up and just put up a building. You understand that? Because you're in a relationship. At what point would I feel the need to ask Mommy, how many men have you been with? At what point? I cannot ask her today. I cannot ask her 2 hours from now. That would be a little premature on my side, because I need to know, okay, so why is this guy asking this particular question? What does he want from it? So we have to get to a point where we know we are very much comfortable with each other, and this thing looks like it is going somewhere, and we cannot buy surprises at this point in time. So surprise is a luxury we can't afford. Let us have it now. How many people have you been with? But like Sammy said, why do you need the answer to that? If you're really opening a new chapter with somebody, if you're starting a life with somebody, and I think that when it comes to the side of the men, it has to do with ego, because they are beginning to think that, okay, so how many men have you been with? And funny enough, they start saying stuff like, what work were they doing? Now they are beginning to match up themselves with the people she has been with, to see whether they fit into the criteria. And it's a man thing, and I would say it's true, because ego plays a very
I was shocked the first time I felt it.
I mean, it plays a big role, because you are like, okay, she can go like, so he picks me up, and you're like, okay, now if I can pick you up, then we might have a problem there.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Me? A man will play with his mind like that.
Okay. Mame, of course, I know that there are a lot of thoughts in your mind now, but answer this for me whilst you are gathering your thoughts. What's the most difficult thing for you to share? I'm not telling you to share that thing with me.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. What's the most difficult thing?
For me to share, can I be very truthful at this point?
Talk to me.
I think that I've come to a place now where I feel like, and when you say to share, it depends on who you're asking me to share it with, right?
No, I'm talking about
in the context of your significant other. Okay. So obviously the sharing will come in with somebody you want to spend the rest of your life with. I think I've reached a point where I've said that I have to be honest with myself. I believe in the transparency thing. They were naked and unashamed, because the thing is that you can never thrive when there's secrecy, because this is me and this is what I'm bringing to the table. So for me, I feel like I should be able to share everything. I realize that even with the men, we're talking about women, but even with the men, they usually don't even share about the money problem. When a guy has debt, he easily keeps that from the woman, or doesn't really share all his financial woes with her. So let's say he's going to get married to her, doesn't say, oh, I owe this guy, my friend here, I owe my friend there. Then they get married. And then you're realizing that, we're having these problems because the guy was maybe paying for this, wooing you and stuff like that, and he didn't. Now all of a sudden you're married and now he can't pay for certain things. What's happening? Oh, I'm owing this person, I'm owing that person, right? So even sometimes men have, it's about the ego thing. Men may not be able to share things about money. Women maybe things about their body.
Okay.
You understand? So maybe things that obviously she's done, because when we do certain things, maybe the element of shame, or even health issues. There are women who may have specific health problems, maybe even with having kids. You understand that they have discovered that they can't even share. They look too ashamed about it. And even, can I be honest with you, even abuse.
Why?
When I say abuse, sexual abuse.
Yeah, I know.
I realize that even with men, men who've experienced sexual abuse in their life will find it very difficult in the context of marriage to tell their wife that I experienced this amount of abuse when I was young. There's a recent case that's happening in Nigeria with this pastor and stuff. Yeah. She only told her husband 2 years ago that she had been raped. So you realize that a lot of people will be in marriage and they will be exhibiting certain characters, and it's because of certain things that they didn't share about themselves. Even with the men. Tyler Perry had been also abused when he was much younger. A lot of men have been through certain sexual abuse. They were victims and stuff. And we know with men, I don't know, maybe the men here can share with me. There's this element of shame of sharing that they had been molested before. And then you can even marry a man. In our society, people don't encourage questions like this. You marry a man, he was abused. Then he realized that he has a lot of thoughts in his mind. And then even now has certain preferences when it comes to other men. Now society, in our culture, you can't marry what? Another man. Okay? You need to marry a woman. Maybe this part of you is something that you can't even address or even think of. Why am I dealing with these struggles? So then you get married, and then you're having some weird cravings, and you can't tell your wife. The shame. And I know stories of people who've gotten married, and the woman finds out that this man has a relationship with another man. These are truths and that's why you ask the question, what can you handle? These are real things that happen in relationship, whereby people don't really share their journeys. Or when I was in high school, I had this experience in a boys' school. Can you tell the woman that this happened? And I now have all of these strange thoughts. Or there's a case in the UK, a teacher who would watch child pornography during school hours. Married man. Okay?
Wow.
So now you don't even know your husband has a struggle like this. How do you sit your wife down and tell her, honey, I'm struggling with pornography? Especially even if you're a man of God.
What a
You know what I'm trying to say? How do you tell your wife? Because in sharing that moment, you bring light. It doesn't have power over you anymore. But the power to share and feel like this truth will be handled well, the honesty, I think it has less even to do with the person who is sharing the honesty than the other person who's receiving it. That you work on yourself to know that we all go through struggle. We are all broken one way or the other. There's no perfect person. And when you decide that you want to be with someone, you need to be open.
No, yeah.
That's why I spoke yesterday. Last week I said that marriage is not a joke.
It's not.
Because the terrain that you go in and you realize, man, it's a whole different ball game.
You'll be shocked.
That you know what I'm trying to say.
I know someone who asked. Anyway, it's a longer story than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to ask Sam is that it looks like in sharing, there's a question of, have you come to terms with the information you're sharing? How heavy is it for you? Right. And what are some of the things that are difficult for a man to come to terms with and to share?
I think primarily, like Mom said, it would be his finances. I've come to the point where I'm beginning to think that even before you enter into a serious relationship that you see going far, you have to be very honest about your finances. When they're toasting you, when men are toasting women, sometimes they go out of the box to do things that are unimaginable. which costs quite a lot of money. But once you get married, all the cockroaches in the cupboard start sort of appearing.
When
and
you
you're like,
after election.
exactly. And then you're like, oh wow, I didn't know this.
That's what the guys say. Nobody campaigns after an election. They won. That's it.
I think you shouldn't just get into a relationship because you're in love, but you should go into it with the mindset that this is work. And so from the get-go, based on how much your partner can handle, you really need to lay all your cards on the table and tell him, hey guy, this is me. Are you willing to take me? Because if you shadow some of these things, they're going to come back. They'll resurface, and maybe at that point you might not have the stomach to handle the shock.
But how do you know he or she can handle it?
Well, I mean, you don't marry someone the first day. You get to know them, and you sometimes even get to appreciate their line of reasoning and how they react to certain things. And all this is based on the fact that you've been with them for a while.
You've observed them.
Yes, you've observed them.
Smart. Why is it that I get the sense that with both receiving and giving information, guys are ego tripping?
We are, because society is feeding us with masculinity, and you have to be strong in all areas, regardless of whatever you're going through. You are taught not to show pain. You are taught not to show weakness. You are taught to, be the man and stamp your authority and things like that. So sometimes even when you are wrong, that's the most difficult part. When a man is really wrong and he has to just sit a lady down and say, I was wrong. Just these 3 words. It's very difficult for him to utter them because he feels like he's giving away his authority. Now, the giving and the receiving, the man area, let me be honest. There is a story I heard, someone I know, and he was telling me that before he would have sex with the lady, she would ask to drink.
Wow.
And it had been going on for a while. So at a point he said, it came to mind when Mami was sharing the fact that there are certain things some people find it very difficult to share.
Yeah.
So this guy told me, and I'm like, how would you feel? I mean, right now you are not even married. I'm talking about premarital sex. You are not even married. She wants to get drunk before she does that. How would you feel if you are married and your wife wants to get drunk before? Ask her why she needs a drink before this thing happens.
That's always a reason.
So then later you find out that she had a blood covenant with a previous boyfriend. And so any man that comes on top of her, she sees the image of the guy.
Wow.
So if she's not drunk, she would see you as, let me just say, Kofi.
Wow.
And she has to get drunk. Other than that, it's not happening. So you see, such truth, do you want it to come out when we are married?
Okay.
Of course not. You understand me? So you see, these are real issues. This is not like a story. These are real issues.
Okay, first of all, what did he do? When he found out?
He couldn't do anything about it. I said, see, boy, these things, if you know if you handle, I beg, walk away. Because you would damage her. Because at a point, you wouldn't want her to get drunk before. Because you need her to be in a right frame of mind for something like that. This is something you guys are sharing, in the context of, love. So then, would you allow her to drink anytime you want to? These are questions. That's where the honesty comes in. From you.
Right.
Not from her.
Right.
From
Honest
you.
with yourself.
Be honest with yourself and ask yourself, would I allow her drink every time we're about to have something like this?
And there's also the question of now there's a spiritual connotation in there.
Precisely. So what role am I playing? For all you know, you are not even praying enough. For all you know, you are not even praying enough.
Right.
So such issues staring at you in the face, you need to ask yourself, so then, like I said, the honesty sometimes is not even about the person who is giving the information. It's about the one receiving it. Are you going to be honest with yourself to say, okay, I am fine with your situation. Let's pray about it. What if that dealing with that situation takes like a year? Because psychologically, she has to be treated too. Aside the spiritual matter.
Yeah.
She has to see someone to talk her through her situation. Because this is not something you can just do away with. This is something you deal with. And anything you don't solve outside marriage, you can't solve in marriage.
That's
And
right.
so, where does the honesty start from?
Right.
Right when you guys start dating. So, from the start, there are certain things that when you pick up, you don't just blink over them. You don't just overlook
Bad
them.
and I, right.
We must pay attention, and that's what we don't do.
True.
And someone world. Okay. It's 11 minutes till we hit the top of the hour. What a story that Smart was telling us. Okay, so we're going to open the phone lines in a minute. How much honesty is too much in a relationship? Okay, so I want Mame to tell us this thing. Mame, what frame of mind do you think is best for accepting difficult information? How should you approach it? Since, of course, we realize that receiving heavy information is just as serious as giving it. So, how should you be thinking? I mean, I could tell you today that, look, I can't even do the do.
Right.
So, how should you be thinking to accept difficult information?
Okay. I think it goes back to what Smart said and what we've been saying about being real with yourself first. I think being real with yourself is this, and seeing life as it is. A lot of people see life as a facade or this fairy tale, and so they don't really see the realities. You know what he just shared sounds like a movie.
I'm telling you.
But these are real things, but people don't even consider when they are assessing life. When you see life as it is, and what you see, I watch a lot of things. I document, I read a lot of stuff. You hear people's stories, and you're like, look, this can actually not be too far from you. But when you're real with yourself, real with life, knowing that, especially with human beings, people can be very broken.
Yeah.
And the brokenness, it starts from even childhood.
Yeah.
And then you grow up with this. And so when you know all of these things, when you enter into a relationship with somebody, you are open.
But there's also the tendency
Yes.
to, okay, I honestly can't handle it,
Right.
so I have to walk away.
Yeah.
Which is what people who lie are afraid of.
Right.
So how do you deal with that tendency?
That's true. The fact that, because the thing is that you need to ask yourself, the person also who's been through things, that look, do you want to ensnare? Because a lie is like a trap, right? Because you're trapping, you're getting somebody without them. You eventually, haven't you heard those stories where someone gets married and at the funeral they discover the guy had like 3 children?
Yes, 3
and they're
wives.
Like, 3 wives, right? The thing is this, you see, it's about the kind of relationship you want. Do you want, if you're looking for something real and honest, you need to be able to say to yourself that I'm going to put this out there. If the person leaves, that's fine. But there is somebody. I've heard of people who've married women who were prostitutes before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, people who had a past.
Yeah.
And then they still had found someone. And it was a good person actually.
And I mean, I'm even you shouldn't even use that example
Right.
because I mean it's even creates the impression that person is unmarriageable. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry to call you out like that.
I know what you mean.
You know what? Let me open the phone lines now. And then we'll make the phone calls with the conversation. And 0302-216-541, 0244-340-437. Whilst I'm waiting for my first caller, the Barclays Absa Group Limited has a lot in store for SMEs in Ghana. Absa is interested in supporting African business, specifically SMEs. We help them grow by providing finance capacity building and financial literacy programs. We've supported over 140,000 SMEs and individuals across Africa. Welcome to Absa Group Limited. Absa, proudly serving you in Ghana as a Barclays. 0302-216-541. How much honesty is too much in a relationship? Maybe you can also call and tell me that, look, I don't want to know. I've heard that song. I don't want to. Oh, I need to find it. DJ Wobeti, he's a champion DJ. He'll get it for me. Webster University is an American university based in St. Louis, Missouri, with international campuses in 9 countries around the world, including Ghana. At Webster University, you get an American education with the opportunity of completing your degree in any of our network campuses in North America, Europe, and Asia. Apply in June and get up to a 30% automatic scholarship. The Ghana campus currently offers both graduate and undergraduate degrees. Locate Webster University in East Legon off the Lagos Avenue behind Media Pharmacy. Join us or call us on 054-012 0869 or 054-012 0849. Okay, so I'm really not satisfied with my answer as to when it gets tough, do you get going or you get tough? Smart. So when you get heavy information, how do you practically stay?
I think that people are really enjoying the conversation. So just had a message from a network I belong to, just Dream Believe Achieve network, a crazy network. But then Daniel, you see, that's why I'm saying that we must, and I think Mami has reiterated this from last week, we must focus on building character. You see, because there are a lot of people who hear certain things and they will just vanish. They will start giving you, I'm not picking your calls anymore, I'm not replying your messages anymore. But they would not be honest with you to tell you that it was because of A, B, C that you said or you did that is pushing me away. Because at the time that the message came or the information came, it was so heavy on them, they didn't even know how to handle it themselves. So as people, you can be tough as much as you can, but how honest is your toughness? You know, people portray they're strong, you know, because we are living in a society where you cannot show how weak you are. I remember when Victor Brachi was here, he started this initiative, Failure Stories. It was a group where people meet to share their failures. And you would realize that people do have a lot of failure stories, but we have this media society relationship where everything we are putting out there is a success story. Ekayayo would not be published until she becomes a doctor or a nurse. So there is always this idea that everybody is doing good, so people learn to hide stuff. They learn it. They learn to hide it, because if you don't learn it, society will laugh at you. So there are certain things you would never share, regardless of the situation. So we are in a relationship. I've just dropped the bomb. Now, this is where the person also, I just shared with you, the person also, I know that this is not easy information for you.
Yeah, forgiveness is required.
Yes, and so you are also struggling with what you have just heard. You should be honest with me about the fact that, Charlie, this thing you have shared, I don't think I'm okay with it. But they would go like Sammy was saying, oh, don't worry, you know, I love you, work it out. They are hiding it. But later, it comes up and they are like, you, the last time when you even shared this thing about me, I kept quiet. So it means that earlier when I shared it, you did not really receive it well. But you didn't take time to actually make us have a conversation about it. Because people nowadays don't talk, they just chat. People don't talk about issues when, you know, it's getting tough.
They just chat about the weather.
Yeah, they just chat. Hey, how are you doing? Have you eaten? All right. Or what time are you closing? Let's have lunch. That's it. They don't really talk. So the last time you said you were raped, when you were raped, who did you tell? We don't talk about the real issues because people think that avoiding the issue is the best way to solve it. But avoiding the issue is the issue.
Okay.
Avoiding it is the issue. Because if you choose not to talk about it, you can't change what you don't confront. So, I mean, this person has been abused. She just told you. You are her boyfriend. At that material moment, she has given you so much trust to share that particular information.
So what is done? I still don't have that clarity on.
What is done?
What do you do when the bomb drops on you?
Work on it together, or if you can't stomach it, you see, this is what I call a cycle. When she shares it, and you are really going to walk away, you have damaged her. Because she just gave you a part of her that she wouldn't just give anybody at all.
No, but you see,
so like I'm saying,
no, smart. Let me move here. That also smart, Sam. That also, it sort of locks you so that okay, now you know this, so you can't go. you are now required to stay because you know this. That is also unfair on the
then that is why there is timing in sharing. There is timing in sharing. See, Danny, in my mind, I wouldn't just give out any information at all to anybody, just like that. I would not even meet you 2 months and tell you certain critical things about me, because I feel like I need to know who I am dealing with. Because you see, in relationships, the truth of the matter is that we are all selfish. Because at the point in time, I would want to be favored. I mean, if this thing doesn't go well in the next 2 months, I'm at a loss. But you have very, very damaging information about me. So.
I don't wanna know if you're playing me, keep it on the low. 'Cause my heart can't.
Too much. So you see, I came into this conversation thinking that this conversation is about those who are sharing heavy information, but it's even heavier for people who are receiving heavy information, which is how I want to think about. I want us to think about it totally. I think we can squeeze in Andrew from Adenta. Good morning, Andrew. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
How much is too much?
It depends on who you are sharing with. And before you come out, you should have known the person enough to know that this information I am giving, the person can handle it.
How do you know he can handle it? Or she can handle it?
Because you would not release certain information a week after meeting somebody. You understand? You should have known the person enough. And if the person is somebody you are willing to share the rest of your life with, you should have also done a couple of background checks to know that this person, I can handle your past. I am willing to handle it and to deal with it. Because if you are sharing your life with somebody, it is the rest of your life. So it is work in progress.
So you have to take your time and know the person.
To help that person handle that issue.
Andrew, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so we are not having the news at the top of the hour today. We are not doing the news at 10 today. So apologies for that if you were expecting it. But you can call us on 0302216541. If you are into agric farming or you dream of being a large-scale farmer, Agric Development Bank is your most trusted bank with over 50 years experience in agric financing. So you can count on us to offer the best financing solutions in making your dream a reality. Call our hotline in 0302-210-210 for further information. ADB, truly, agric and more. Nana Kweku is calling from Dodowa. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Please, I just want our listeners to know that there is a serious traffic on the motorway that's leading towards Tema.
Okay. Do you know what is causing the traffic?
I have no idea. I'm still on the lane, so I don't know what's ahead that is causing the traffic.
Thank you very much, Nana Kweku. Please, if you're on the motorway heading towards Tema and you know what is causing the traffic, you know where we can take alternate routes in the motorway. Maybe if it's before Abattoir, you can take it. You can take that care at Abattoir, depending on where you're going. So let us know. 0244340437. That's a text line. 0244340437. This is Robert. I'm crying over the issue. I can't handle it. I will rather let her drink. Jake is calling from Sakomono. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning, Mr. Dazi.
Yes, sir. Let's hear you. How much is too much?
Mr. Dazi, listen. For me, to be honest with you, even if you know the person is going to be a future something, or you have a future with the person, you should be able to weigh the person before you make those submissions to the person, because whatever you spell out or you speak out, at the end of the day, it will go a long way and affect the relationship. If something happens, that reference will come, that mistrust will come. Because per my experience, I wish I'd never mentioned it, to be honest. So if you think your partner doesn't have the strength to condone it, don't even say it. You can just blush, but giving details, don't do it.
Did she leave when you mentioned it?
In fact, rather, I am the one who requested for the information. And having received the information, I've not been able to deal with it.
Do you mind telling us what she told you? Okay, no, she may know that this is you. Thank you very much, Jake, for calling. Hey, Charlie, people have things. Oh, I'm telling you, it's not a joke. Peter is calling from Tishi. Good morning, Peter. Hi, Peter. Good morning. Sorry, I lost Peter there. Jojo from Controller says, Didi, I met this lady at Crossover Service in 2017. On our second meeting, she was very open to me to the point where she made me know she has friends who go for sex parties. Didi, I have not picked her calls again since then. If she had not shared that, I think we would have had a perfect relationship by now. Hey, so you left her because she has friends who go for sex parties? And I don't know.
Second meeting. Yeah.
Okay, it's Peter from Teshire. Okay, so Mami, I want you to give me 30 seconds on how do you tell, how can you tell if the person can handle heavy information?
I was saying that the best thing to do is give scenarios, so hypothetical situations. Hey, you know what? I had this friend, and then the person, this is the person's story. So maybe whatever it was, whether infidelity or whatever it is, or they had some weird past. Hey, what do you think? What do you think? Once they tell you what they think, and it's about someone else, believe me, when it's your situation, so you advise yourself there and then that, okay, this situation is not going to,
okay,
you know.
Thank you very much, Mommy. Petrina is on the line. Is this the Petrina we know?
Yes.
Yes, this is she.
This is our Petrina. Hey, Petrina, you like it, Papa. Okay, let's hear you. How much is too much?
Okay, so I'm actually going to say one very important thing, that there is no hard, fast rule for everyone. So sometimes we want to hear, oh, if you do this, this will happen. If you wait 2 months, like someone shared, this will happen. I get that it may work for some people, but some people actually bond over sharing deep information about themselves from the get-go, and then they stay together for a long time. So there's really no way you will know for sure whether the person can handle it or not. So just for our listeners out there, there's no hard, fast rule. Yes, it's very important to take your time to get to know someone. Be careful with the information that you do give out. But you don't know whether the person will stay or not. And sometimes you, the individual, also don't know whether you'll stay or not, because there are certain parts of you that come out only in a relationship. Things that you thought you couldn't handle, that in a relationship you find out that you can handle. Or things that you thought you could handle and then you find out that you can't handle. So I think the important thing is, yes, take your time, get to know the person as much as you can. Open up. Be honest. What the person does with that information is a function of who they are and not who you are.
Beautiful. I love that. What the person does with the information, it doesn't take away from your worth as a person, but it rather tells who they are. I love it. Beautiful. Felix from Lashibi is helping us here. He says there's a truck that ran into a ditch and is being drawn back onto the road on the Tema-Accra side. Accra Tema are just observing, hence the pile. No alternatives unless you want to do abattoir through Sakomono. If you can do abattoir through Sakomono, that would be great. Hi, I agree with your caller, Andrew. You know the person, so you know what they can handle. You see, Petrina also said that there's no hard and fast rule, because someone can also say, oh, if it is someone else, I don't mind, but it's when it happens to the person you are with, you realize that no, this is more real than I thought it was. So anyway, that's it for today's Super Morning Show. Mame, Same, and Smarts. Thank you so much, guys, for coming.
Thank you.
I just want to say this to end this. In the end, I honestly believe that all of this goes into our knowing who we are, our placing value on ourselves.
Right.
So nothing you have gone through reduces you as a person. However, what you have gone through actually builds up and makes you better. I've shared this a couple of times about how there's this Japanese pottery that is broken and it's fixed with gold. And it's more beautiful than it was before it was broken.
Yep.
So the cracks that are in your character have made you more beautiful. Rather than, so you should first of all understand your self-worth. In that case, if the person leaves because of what they found out, it's their loss, not yours. And the person is saving you the heartache of being with a judgmental person. So please, you're worth way more than that. A lot of honesty is accepted. My name is Daniel Dazi. This has been the Super Morning Show. Up next is Cosmo.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration